Great, so this is the final class in the series in terms of the section of hour-long classes. And this is a restorative class called Elusive Dreams to help you if you have trouble sleeping. So for anyone with symptoms of insomnia. If you haven't worked with restorative before, unlike yin, restorative's all about relaxation and opening. So you should feel completely relaxed and at ease physically in all of these postures, rather than thinking that you might be holding the pose in a particular shape. So make sure that each time you come into a pose that you set yourself up, give yourself enough time just to get into a really comfortable position. And most of these poses we're going to hold somewhere between about 5 and 10 minutes. This sequence or class has about 6 or 7 poses in it, and it should take you about 40 to 60 minutes. If you don't have that much time, you can always take 1 or 2 of the poses and just work with a couple of them before you go to bed. And it's a great way to help yourself move into that state of sleep rather than lying in bed worrying or trying to get to sleep. Couple of things that I suggest that you make sure if you're somewhere cold and you're practicing this, that you're really, really warm. The body temperature drops dramatically when we practice restorative yoga. So warm socks, blankets. I have loads of props always when I'm practicing restorative. So grab all things from around the house that you might want to use to support the body. You're definitely going to need for this class a bolster or a couple of pillows if you don't have a bolster, a couple of blankets, a couple of bricks, an eye pillow if you've got one. If not, you could just use an eye patch that you use at night. And I've also got a couple of small pillows off our sofa here, which I like to use just to prop under my hips when I'm opening in Baddha Konasana, supported Baddha Konasana, which we'll be doing in a bit. My other recommendations, if you are struggling to get to sleep, is to make sure that you try and cut off from any electronic equipment a good couple of hours before you try and go to bed. Any sort of screens, any sort of things that might activate you in any way. Obviously, caffeine and sugar. A good one is to have a really nice warm bath before you take this class or after, so that you can go straight off to sleep. A cup of warm milk, if that's something that you like to drink, can also be really, really useful. And another recommendation is that if you are lying in bed and you're struggling to sleep, rather than staying in bed, it's good to get out of bed and maybe take a pose on the floor or take yourself out of the space of bed, because it's really important that you associate bed with sleep rather than associating bed with insomnia. So there's a few tips before we start this class. Like I mentioned, you will need quite a few props, and if you're not sure, first time through, just grab a load of things and then see what you're going to need for your body. This first pose is a supported reclining pose, which is one of my favorites, and it's really good to place the body at 45 degrees when you're struggling to sleep. So you're going to use your bolster, and I've propped my bolster up on a couple of bricks here so that I'm at 45 degrees. I've always also placed a towel just at the top of my bolster for my head. Again, important that you aren't throwing the neck or the head backwards at all. So you want to make sure the head and the chest are higher than the belly, head higher than chest, chest higher than belly. So you've got this nice kind of slope for the body. And then I've also got another rolled blanket in a kind of sausage shape, which is going to support underneath the backs of my knees. Bring yourself to sit just so that the tailbone comes up here towards the bolster. And then making sure that your rolled blanket, or you could use a pillow, is just under the backs of the knees. You want to avoid having it under the backs of the thighs. You want to make sure that the heels are rooting down into the floor and resting. And then you're just going to slowly begin to lie yourself back over the bolster here. And some people also quite like to pop something under their hands just to give them a little bit of extra support. So you could also take a brick or an additional cushion and just place those underneath the hands. You've got another support there for the hands. And we're going to be in this pose for just under 10 minutes. So I want you to start here once you've gotten yourself into a comfortable place, and that might take you a moment to settle. You might also, if you're somewhere cold, like to place a blanket over the body so you're really cocooned. And then just take these first 30 seconds or so just to really consciously relax the body. And if you want to, you can start from the feet and just scan all the way up, bringing each separate body part into your mind and then relaxing it when you focus on it. And then when you've taken that scan of the whole body, visualize your entire body as one, and then relax it a little bit more. And then I want us to start this pose with a centering breath. And so what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in really slowly for 4, really slowly out for 4. We're going to repeat that, and then we're going to let the breath return to its natural rhythm. And we'll do it over again a few times. So slowly in for 4, slowly out for 4, times 2. And then a natural rhythm to your breath for a few moments. I'll count you through the first few rounds. And you can think of this technique a little bit like a lullaby, singing you to sleep. So when you're ready, just let all the air out of the body. And really slowly, just begin to take the breath in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Then in for 4, 3, 2, 1. And out for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. And then again, next time you exhale, let all the air out of your body. And then we'll inhale slowly for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhaling for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. And then see if you can work with that technique again on your own, counting in your mind for another few rounds. Imagining it's like a lullaby, singing you to sleep. Good. Wherever you're at now with that technique, that centering breath, just allow it to fall away the next time you complete a round. And try and keep a sense of heaviness to the body. And we're going to shift into our next pose, which is going to be a supported Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So without expending too much energy, you can just slowly begin to pop the feet down on the ground. And you may be able to just keep the back of the body on the bolster and just pull the blanket off from underneath the legs, bringing the soles of your feet together and then opening the legs wide and bringing the legs down so that they're supported here on some cushions or some bricks. Now you may be able to take this pose without the support here in your regular vinyasa class, but I'd like you to use a support, whatever, for this practice so that you can really feel that deep sense of relaxation, that deep sense of cradling, allowing yourself to be enveloped for sleep. And again, if you want to place a blanket over the body, you can. So we'll come into this pose again for about 10 minutes, just under. Allowing yourself to settle. Just seeing if you can consciously take yourself into a deeper state of relaxation. Allowing the back of the body to really fall into the props. Allowing the face to be soft, jaw to be soft. Consciously relax the skin and the muscles around the eyes. And then take your awareness down into that groin area and just notice if you're still holding anywhere there. Just allow the thighs and the knees to fall open and be heavy. So there's this deep sense of opening and relaxation happening within your system. Every moment of this practice, taking yourself deeper and deeper. And then when you're ready, taking yourself back to that centering breath. I'll count through one round with you and then you can continue on your own, singing your own lullaby. So exhale all of the air out of the body. And then inhale. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Allow the breath to return to its natural rhythm. And then continuing with your own lullaby, counting yourself in, counting yourself out. If you've drifted off, just bring your awareness back to the breath. And then keeping a really soft gaze, barely blinking the eyes open, you're just going to take yourself over, off your bolster. Take the right arm across and just lie yourself on the side of the body for a moment there. And then when you're ready, just beginning to push yourself up. And we're going to set up for our next position, which is going to be Mountain Brook pose, which is a really restorative chest opener, heart opener. So what I want you to do is take your bolster, and you're going to place the bolster under the backs of the knees. You won't need your bricks for this one. And then I want you to take one of your blankets and concertina it up so it's in a kind of flat sausage shape. And you're going to place this blanket just underneath the shoulder blades. And then you're going to take your other blanket for your head. And what I want you to do is just roll the end up so it's about 1 centimetre or 2 in diameter. It's going to support the neck, and that's really key for our sleep, something we really want to focus on here. And then you're going to come down and find a place where you can rest. So just take a moment to get your position right. The concertina blanket wants to be just under the shoulder blades. The roll wants to be just under the neck. And then if you want to, you can also take the sides of the net roll and just tuck it in so it comes up to support the whole long side of your neck. And if you have an eye pillow, an eye patch at this stage, you can also take that over the eyes as well. And then the arms can rest either in a T shape or in a cactus shape, just along the sides. Starting to relax into this position with a body scan. Relaxing the feet, legs, the pelvis, the hips. Relaxing the rib cage. The chest. The shoulders. And then really focus on relaxing through the shoulders and the sides of the neck, all the way up to the base of your skull. And then again, just seeing if you can slow down the breath. So you can either use that centering breath
or perhaps the long exhalation breath from our how-tos. So just beginning to deepen the breath a little here. And then take the right arm over to one side and just turn yourself onto the side for a moment. And gently push up to a seat. And before we move into our next pose, just take a moment to notice restorative back bend, super powerful on our nervous system. So just notice the effects. And then our next position is going to be Viparita Karani, legs up the wall pose. Yay, one of my favorites. So what I'd love you to do is have a blanket and kind of concertinaed again, folded up to support your back body. You won't need your bricks. And then you're going to take your bolster and have the bolster just a little bit away from the wall there. And if you don't have a wall available to you, then you could use a bed or a chair or a sofa and just fold your legs over the sofa or the chair or the bed. So lots of options for this one. And then the best way that I find to get into it is just to come and sit up against the wall here. And then bring yourself onto the end of the bolster. And then lie yourself down on the blanket, shifting yourself so that the tailbone drops below the belly button. And that might take you a moment just to establish that position for yourself. But see if you can. And then the arms can rest wherever feels comfortable. I quite like having mine either wide or over my head, but that can be quite challenging on some bodies. So down by the side is also fine. We're going to be here for just under 10 minutes. So again, take the first 30 seconds or minute or so just to settle in. Find the position for yourself. And then just become aware of the fluids of the legs as they fall like a waterfall down into that basket of the pelvis, across the belly, down into the chest, the throat, and then all the way to the brain. With each slow and gentle breath here, imagine that thigh bones sinking deeper into the hip sockets. And I like to focus on my belly breathing here. Drawing the breath in and out of the balloon of the belly. If at any stage you feel this inversion is too much for the body, then you're welcome to come out. I'm going to be here for another couple of minutes. Another option always could be to place the feet on the wall, bend the knees in, or you could take the feet together in that Baddha Konasana position and allow the knees just to fall out. You're just beginning to deepen the breath. And if your legs are still folded up, and just allow the feet to slide down the wall. It's up to you how you come out, but I like to just turn myself over to one side, fall off the end of my bolster, and then just bring myself up to a seat for a moment. Moving really slowly here. And before we begin to move into our next position, which is a seated forward fold but a supported one. So an offering is to roll up one of your blankets, concertina it up again into quite a thin sausage there, and then bring that somewhere close so that you can sit on that. You want there to be a gentle tilt forward in the pelvis, so If you find that you're sitting flat on the mat, the legs extended, and you're kind of crunching forward in this roll back through the lumbar spine, then use the prop. Just sit yourself up, and then you'll feel this kind of tilt forward in the hips there. And then, unlike our kind of yang seated forward folds where we're striving legs apart, folding forward here, I want you to take the legs so that they're not so wide. You want to avoid any kind of yanking or pulling in the groin. And then snuggle your bolster in towards the groin, and then we're going to use the bricks to support the bolster. So you have a nice support there. And then if you still need extra support, you can build yourself a little tower. Good. We're going to be here for just over 5 minutes, although you could take this position for anywhere up to about 15 or 20 minutes if you're working on your own at a later time. And then when you're ready, just allowing the body to fold forward. Having that third eye point, that yin tang point, resting on the cushion or the bolster or the blanket. And then really cultivating a sense of relaxation through the hips here. Go back to one of your breath techniques. Or perhaps you feel you don't need it at this stage. Your choice. Now that you're a couple of minutes in, just see if there's any way you can consciously surrender in that hip joint a bit more. And then take the awareness to the face, the ears, the jaw, and feel that sense of surrender spreading through the face, the ears, the jaw. Feel the skin of the third eye point Stretching between your eyebrows. It's gentle pressure. Taking you deep into your parasympathetic state. Draw the breath in through the nose and all the way down the back of the lungs. And then turning the palms down if they're facing upwards, and just gently beginning to push them down and walk the hands back so you come back into an upright position. You can keep the eyes shut. With as little expenditure of energy as possible, we're going to come into our Shavasana. I want you to place your bolster under the backs of your knees. I want you to create a little roll for the neck again here. And I also want you to get the second blanket that you have and just place that over the body completely there. And if you did have an eye pillow, grab that for your eyes as well. Getting yourself nice and supported. And settling yourself in. Consciously taking time to relax each of your body parts, from toes to the crown of the head, particularly focusing on that area around the shoulders, the neck, the base of your skull, and your jaw. And then really slowly just beginning to move the fingers and the toes, creating some gentle movement to bring yourself back to the room. And then eventually rolling over to one side, pausing for a moment there. And then pushing yourself up to a seat to close, keeping the eyes shut, keeping the body warm. And just observing how this practice has cradled the body, the mind, has sung it, the body and the mind, this lullaby with the breath, preparing you for a really good, long, deep night of rest. Namaste.